Hey, everybody. Happy New Year's Eve or New Year's when you're listening to this, or whenever, where, or how you're listening to this. I just wanted to open up. We officially crossed the 1,800 threshold of YouTube subscribers for us. Guys, this time last year, I want to say we're roughly around the 800 mark, give or take a little bit. So we grew by 1K over an entire calendar year. It means a lot to Dave and myself because Dave and I dedicate 30 to 35 hours a week in reading news articles, researching things, researching tactics, players, even film strategy on different types of videos we want to stream or when we stream it as well. We do a lot of streaming for you guys as well, just to give you live content, live at the moment. So from the bottom of Dave and mine heart and Dave and I's heart, I'm not really grammarly challenged right now, but we do thank you guys. So we do appreciate you guys, and hopefully we hit 2K soon.
Thank you. Yeah, let's push for 2K. Let's just keep on growing, steady growth. That's what we're looking for. I think what's cool is the amount of members we have, over 20 members. Lots of gifting going on. That helps. So thank you, everyone, just throughout this year who have supported us. And welcome to all the new members. I mean, clearly, just in the past few days, we've had quite a few new members. So welcome, everyone, new and old, or just kind of dabbling through. Maybe you're a Barca fan or a Man U fan or whatever. You're just checking us out, see who we are. But in any case, welcome to the end of 2023, rolling into 2024.
Or as people want to call it, the day after. But we'll get into it though. We're gonna get into it. We just kind of want to reminisce because I mean, you and I have had quite the adventurous year, right? I mean, we kicked off January. We did some work for Juve. Beppe trained us and taught us the ways of the video. So like, big shout outs to Beppe as well for being kind of like that mentor for us. We had a lot, right? We've collaborated with a bunch of different YouTube channels. I mean, we've done sit downs with Rabona TV. We've done sit downs with the Lions Den. Shout out to those guys. All things Alva Latte. Had a really fun year. We did a lot of streaming, but really, really fun.
Don't forget Monchi's Men.
Monchi's Men as well. Yeah,
Great.
that's
those
right.
Those guys from Marseille, those crazy buggers.
Yep.
Whole bunch of guys, yeah.
I think the one thing, though, that I'm going to speak for myself, Dave, you can probably chime in, that we're most proud of is the Discord community that we've built in the last 12 months.
Oh, just straight up, we have the best one in the like Juve world, maybe outside of like the Juve official, which is a bunch of children that yell at each other all day. So it's not really a great channel, but check it out. Regardless, I'm part of it. We're LinkedIn. We're partners, right? It's just in terms of the crowd, yes, we don't have the same numbers of them, but we have, in terms of the YouTube Juve community, we have the best one. Beppe doesn't have one, but the other two guys, we beat you. Just saying, in that regard, we beat you.
Well, I mean, it's awesome. It's incredible because, it's like, we started back then where it was like, we'd have the one or two guys watching us all the time, and then it's now we've quadrupled, tripled, pentrupled the amount of viewers that we're getting on live streams. And the cool thing is like them being able to take the conversation outside the window or the YouTube into the actual Discord, where it's like we have multiple threads of things that are going on, different conversations, different ideas, different outtakes on things in general. And it's become a really tight-knit group. I mean, you look at it with the pro clubs team that we've built as well. I mean,
made it to Elite Division.
Elite Division, one of the best pro club teams in the entire world.
There you go. And that's just after like a month or two of grinding it out.
I know. It's awesome. I mean, obviously you want to give your shout outs to Frankie, to Colin, to Bones, to Sal, to Tall, to Misak.
Louise, even though he's a bit of a spy.
Yeah, Louise as well. So, and if I miss some of you, Goose as well. Like if I miss some of your names, guys, there's a lot of you guys, and I'm terrible with names, but
big community.
Big community. We appreciate you guys, as well as the interactions that we have with you guys for the Wednesday Tinfoil Hat Show, which has become quite successful because it is what we've promised to give you: fan given content where we take feedback from you guys, the fan, and we put our egos aside and what we want to talk about and how we want to talk about it, and we just react to stuff that you want us to talk about, because at the end of the day, we're nothing without you guys.
Wow, that was a page out of
so
Corny
sentimental
book. Yeah, that's like,
Super corny. I'm wearing a chef's hat, of course.
It's true.
I'm sentimental in a hat.
Address the fact
No.
that you're wearing a chef's hat.
I
But Dash
am.
is going to be cooking tonight.
We're cooking.
Yeah.
We're cooking. And
I guess
this is
also
also
nice. Is we might as well start cooking. We've done all the chopping.
we might as well. I mean, this is the day after, not the sentimental day after, where I say, "No, I love you. Come back. I miss you. Please."
Yeah, everyone go throw up in the corner. We're over it. Time to get to business.
Yeah, it is, and quite the business. And this hat, I mean, honestly, is Allegri cooking, because one of the biggest stats I'm going to talk about today is out of a possible 21 points against elite rivals in Serie A, air quotes, elite, Juve have gotten 17 out of 21 points. The only points that they have dropped are to Atalanta and Inter. And if you look at the team that is ahead of said club, the only points that they did not drop is Atalanta. So Juve and Inter sharing quite a mirror representation of each other when it comes to points, because right now, outside of the Atalanta game, both Juve and Inter have dropped points to Sassuolo and Genoa and
so
themselves.
Both lost to Sassuolo, both tied to Genoa, tied each other. Literally, the only thing separating the two is that Atalanta game, and that's the 2 points right there, a tie versus a win.
And the irony of it is, I believe Inter played Atalanta at home instead of playing them in Bergamo, and we played them in Bergamo. So I think that might be the difference.
You know what I think the difference is? There's two things here. There's 2 points separating us. 2 bad refereeing calls. You can say the championship halfway through this season can be separated by a couple refereeing calls. That's how tight it is. Now, I'm not here to make an excuse, but you can take a couple situations throughout this season, like the Arnautovic goal for Inter this past weekend, who they have come out and said should not have been a goal. The refereeing association. So, I mean, when the refereeing association comes out and says it should not have been a goal, like, I'm quite literally saying the difference here in the championship goes down to bad refereeing. And you can chop it up to that in a sense.
And to be honest, I don't want to talk about refereeing after what happened last night with the Lions, because the NFL has said, "Hey, we're suspending the referee that effed up your guys' game." And I'm like, great, that doesn't do anything for me.
It happens everywhere. It's a pandemic.
Yeah, right now, me and reffing are a very touchy subject. But look, Inter's scared.
Oh yeah, they are. The excuses.
They are terrified.
Oh
they
my
are
god,
terrified.
it's funny. It's funny. I love it.
It is absolutely hysterical. And again, I'm wearing the hat because I got to give Allegri his flowers. He has done with what he has done in this squad is very, very impressive. And the reason why I kind of want to say and talk about this is because I made the biggest mistake of listening to Paramount Plus talk about this post-match. I did. I messed up because our resident
fucked up, son.
Our resident alleged Juventini Marco drops an absolute nugget, and Paramount was quick to delete the post-match, so you can't watch it anywhere unless you recorded it. They deleted it off Paramount Plus, where it's only the match.
If you have a recording, you need to get it sent.
So I have this in verbatim due to some folks from Twitter actually jotting it down. So this was post-match. Marco says Allegri should be out after this season, with Matteo Bonetti following up saying, even if he wins the Scudetto? And Marco says, yes, even then, they need a new coach to take them into a new style of play, new ideas. Can you not just enjoy a win against Jose Mourinho? Like, can we not? Like, what is wrong with these youngsters?
So we didn't necessarily need a new ideas to beat Jose Mourinho. We needed Allegri's ideas to beat Jose Mourinho because he continually does this. I mean, at least recently, he's got a decent track record. He knows how. They both know how to play each other. I just think, if I'm going to be biased to make a statement, Allegri plays it better.
Yes, Allegri and Mourinho, like Mourinho and Allegri, are identical into the way that they tactically approach the game. Mourinho had a game plan, didn't work. Unfortunately, didn't execute properly, and that game was, in fact, it was a snooze fest that we will go into.
Most of
I
it.
don't
There were
good chunks, but like so, right? I mean, you and I were calling it live, and we were dicking around talking about hockey half the time. But look, I don't like this new ideas. Like, what is the new idea? The guy that's over there in Brighton, that's probably not going to go to a large team. That
This
guy
is
that
akin.
can't handle. Go ahead. Dave.
Oh, you're talking about De Zerbi. Of course you are.
Yes.
No, I'm thinking politically, right? When a government gets elected because everyone just didn't vote for the other guy. Like, is that what you mean by new idea?
I
Because
don't understand.
see how that works out, right? Like, oh, let's just try this guy out because he's new. Sure.
Pep Guardiola right now. Pep Guardiola is not playing an offensive, beautiful style of calcio. He's not. He is a counterattacking statistical machine. He has turned this Man City team into a statistical machine at this point.
Well, because his team is, I mean, his team isn't what it was a few years ago either, right? He has to.
It's not. He's adjusted. So, and like this Inzaghi side that you guys have been absolutely flaunting, this Inter side is a Walmart version of Allegri. Counterattacking ball.
It's more it's Wish.com because of Zhang, right?
Wish.
It comes from China.
That's fair. My issue is when you start saying new ideas, okay, great. What new ideas? If you tell me De Zerbi, I will look at you and say, great. Let's put this into perspective. If you're in Serie A and he is a roller coaster. And let me break this down for you. What is De Zerbi's biggest weakness and where has he struggled in the Premier League? Against teams that use a low defensive block. What does that mean? Have possession, figure it out. That's what they do. And what do De Zerbi teams do when they get low blocked? They suck.
You see that a lot, honestly, with that style of team, that you just low block them. That's why they struggle a lot of times against trash teams, like lower table teams, because they'll just go and sit in they just low block and park the bus.
And coaches that have decent football IQ. Like, for example, David Moyes embarrassed the hell out of them. The only game that that Brighton really, razzle-dazzled was against Tottenham, which their defender or their coach doesn't know how to play defense either. So, hey, it works for you. So let me bring this back to us now. Let me bring this back to Juve. What do every single damn team in Serie A do when they play against Juventus? What do they employ?
Low block.
A low block.
That's another reason why it's so annoying to watch these matches. It's not all Allegri. It's just the teams employing low blocks. It's like every single one of them bought a school bus and brings it to the matches just to park it.
So, look, and shout out to Sunday League coach because he addressed this on Twitter. New ideas I think that he's early mid 20s. So like his lifetime, the time that he saw Juve at its pinnacle, that you could consciously remember, because if you're telling me, oh, I remember when I was 5 years old that Juve did this, I'm sorry, that's very hard for me to believe. Probably not. The highest Juve have been with Conte and Allegri. And what do? Pragmatic, counter-attacking football.
You're talking about Marco? Like, is he only 20 something?
I think so, right?
It's just a youngin'.
And look, hey, big ups to the guy. The guy made his brand huge, and now he's, an actual anchor on a network. I don't have an issue with that. That's not my problem. My issue is with the takes. I don't know. Look, I don't know if this take was made to look like a troll to get more clicks. If that's the case, I will never talk and mention this human being ever again, because I don't want to bring attention to something like that. But if it's like with pure sincerity, then we need to have a conversation and use some critical thinking here, because
I think he knows how to get the clicks.
I think that might be the case, but I just find it extremely interesting because it's like you make that and then your suggestions or your alternatives are De Zerbi or Spalletti or Italiano or Motta. And it's like, for example, I like Motta, but I think it's too soon to put all your chips on Motta, because Motta was being laughed at Genoa because he ran a 4-2-2-2-2-2-2.
4-2-2-2-2.
Yeah. Or like, for example, Motta at Spezia didn't do quite well. So Motta's having a solid, I want to say 12 to 13 months at Bologna, and we don't know what'll happen. And guess what? The second everyone was saying that Motta's the most amazing new thing since Swiss cheese, they got blasted 3-0 by Udinese.
I consider that like a 3.5-0.
So I want to bring this to Juventini to kind of ground us in a minute. let's not buy into the hype of certain moments, because look at Krava. Krava was the new Maradona, this most amazing player ever. Where is he now? Like, let's relax for a minute. Let's pump the brakes. Let's not jump onto bandwagons to look big or to make things look cooler than they actually are. And for ideas right now, look what's in front of them. You have a coach that has taken a squad full, an average age of 25 to 26-year-old players who are very limited in their technical ability. Because if you want to tell me that some of these players are magicians, they're not. And especially the fact that you're missing your two most creative players due to some bullshit that they decided to do offside the pitch. And you're at this point, you're above 40 points. Where, in my opinion,
43. Yeah,
we got no business being there.
So if you extrapolate the numbers, if we continue this pace into the rest of the season, we're looking at, what, 86-point finish?
90 plus. 90 plus.
We did 43. We would finish at 86 if you just double it.
Oh, if you just doubled it, yeah.
Yeah.
But like they're saying, Juve the projections are. Well, we haven't hit 18 yet, Dave. We haven't hit 18 matches.
That was the 18th.
No, it wasn't.
Go on.
I'm dead serious.
Are you calling me out?
Because we usually hit 18 mid-January.
That was the 18th match. You're so wrong.
Was it? Am I so wrong?
You are so wrong.
It's 19. 19 is the midway. 38 matches, 19 is the midway.
Oh, did I just do my math wrong? Because that's 36.
Yes.
Oh, I'm a...
you can't do math. I am invincible. I put the hat on. I become Jesus. I become Chef Jesus.
Trying to do math against an engineer. That was a dumb idea.
Stroke my ego. So say that Juve won the 19th match. They go to 46. They're projected to hit 92 if you double
so
it.
You're correct. Yeah, 90
that is unheard of.
Well, it's not unheard of. Like we've done this.
We've done it. No. I know we've done it before, but I'm saying when you look at the roster that we have, you have
this isn't like 2017 roster. This is 23, 24 roster here.
Exactly. Because when you look at it, you have a front line of a Dusan that's, I think, finally turning a corner, a Federico Chiesa who has yet to turn the corner, Milik who has yet to really show up this season, Moise Kean who's busy kicking off his rap career, and then like the bright spot in Kenan Yildiz. And then you have a midfield, a consistent midfield of Adrian Rabiot, who I think has been the best midfielder by far this season. Kostic, well, he's a wingback, but still classified as a midfielder. Manuel Locatelli, who I think he's gotten to the point where he's a consistent 7. McKennie, who is having a comeback season of the year. And then you have Cambiaso that's playing well. And then you also have Miretti, who is kind of nowhere to be found at this point. And then you have a back three, not really a makeshift anymore, but a solid back three of Bremer, Gatti, and Danilo.
Well, one of the best in Europe. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
We have conceded only 3 more than Inter. I mean, that's our Sassuolo game, right? You take the outlier out. It happens. But across Europe, 11 goals conceded. Come on, guys. That's not bad.
You cannot like Allegri, which is fine. Which is perfectly fine. But when you're starting to say, okay, we need it's working. And then, like, for example, and Beppe brought it correctly during the Festivus. Oh, but we'll get blamered in Europe. Guys, this isn't going to be the same squad we take into the Champions League. It's going to be totally different.
If we were going to Europe, we would have had an extra $100 million, and we would have put that money into more players. But we didn't have that money, so we can't invest the money we don't have because business. And financial fair play, and hey, we just got taken to court.
And the argument that I want to push back on that is, guys, we're not in Europe this season. It doesn't matter.
No. And if you can wait out anyways to get the profiles that you actually want at the prices that make sense, like in a sense, yes, it sucks we didn't go to Europe. It does hurt us overall, but it does give us time to sit back and reflect and take the time to make long-term decisions instead of rushing in to plug holes right now.
Exactly. So relax. Let's try to win the league because we're in a title race. And let's try to win Coppa Italia because we're, I want to say favorites.
The favorites. Inter's out.
I want to say favorites. Inter and Napoli are both out. Like
We
the only
have the chance of a domestic double. How great would it be? Let's just say, not jinxing, it's a hypothetical. We're not in Europe. First time in years. Last year sucked. We get it. Domestic double next year. Suck it.
right? Minus
Would
10
you not
domestic
be
double
okay
the
with
next
that?
season.
Tell me here who isn't okay with that. Because
We
that's
need
what
new
we're aiming
ideas.
for at that is our goal now. The beginning of the
need new
season's top
ideas.
4. Right now, I'm gonna say our goal should be domestic double. Because we can.
But we need new ideas. Like, come on, guys. Look, I understand that statement when, look, you've plateaued in Europe, you've made the semifinal in the Champions League for the last 2 or 3 years, and you just can't get over that hump. Then I understand, okay, Allegri, I need to ship you off. I'm going to hand you Zidane or whatever, whatever.
Could I just
Guys,
bring up the obvious point that we did
have-
that already?
And it didn't work.
And we brought him back! Guys, don't be dumb. This happened already.
My thing is this. You do that when you need new ideas is when you have plateaued. Are we plateauing? I don't think so.
We're on the
I think
up and
we're
ups.
on the rise. We're on the up and ups. So this was us, Allegri's first season. Absolute free fall. He kind of bottomed out and helped us out last season where, the minus 10. This is the absolute bottom was last season. This season is, okay, we hit the lowest point that we can physically go. Now we can trend upward. So let's use logic.
There's a pilot term. Sorry, just to give a quick analogy.
Go for it.
The pilots have this saying, any landing you can walk away from is a good one. That was last year. We crash landed, but we got up, walked away. That's where we're at. Sorry, go on.
So you're going on the up, you're going on the ascension, and the guy that is helping you ascend, you plop him right then and there? That makes no sense. That makes no sense
really
because
doesn't.
then you take an unknown variable and then you place it there because I don't know if you've seen the locker room videos or if you've seen the videos with Allegri and everybody. I don't see a damn player that hates him.
Oh, because they fired all the ones that do.
Yeah, because they shit canned all the ones that were actually causing issues.
Yeah.
Mr. Union Berlin, and he's trying to come back to Italy. Or Mr. Juan
Romans won't even take him.
Yeah. Or the one guy over there at the other team in Milan that got jeered every time he touched the ball. That guy. The guy that has the decency to go to a rival right after that. It kind of goes to show you his character.
Yeah.
Need I say Di Maria as well?
Yeah,
Benfica's an absolute low.
Has anybody even...
Have you seen
thought of
Paredes
him?
as well?
Well, yeah, yesterday.
Exactly. He tried injuring half our squad.
That's what he did last. That was the only good thing we liked about him last year. Remember, he came on and just started
Shithousing.
just like studs up everywhere. It's like, yeah, that's what we need right now because we're gonna lose this, obviously. I mean, you need a guy like that on your team when you suck, which we did last year.
Guy, like maybe this is the old man in me talking, but guys, we need to be able to take a minute, sit down, and relax.
Yeah, and when I say
look
suck,
at it from a holistic.
and I gotta track back. I say we suck last year. That's blown out of proportion by saying that. We finished on the field third, and I think that's something we'll bring up more on Wednesday as we do the report card. But
Yeah.
we finished third technically on the pitch last year. Is it really a surprise that we're second right now? Why is everyone surprised? We finished third last year, the trash year. Now we're second. Makes sense, right?
I think the shock factor is you don't have Paul and you don't have Fagioli. I think that is kind of the surprise, right? That I can understand to an extent, but you have Paul, and if you have Fagioli, what's there to stop you to say that we're tied or we're ahead by 2 or 3 points?
Or if Davide fucking Massa doesn't ref your match.
Yeah, that too.
Either or,
Because look at it. You take the Sassuolo game out, because that was the biggest defensive blunder I've seen Juve do in a while. Juve and Inter are pretty damn similar right now with goals conceded.
Mm-hmm.
They are nearly so. Right now, Inter have conceded only 8 goals this season. Juve have conceded 11. You take the 4 out of the Sassuolo match, 8-7. Defensively, they're very similar. These teams are carbon copies. The only difference is that Inzaghi has air quotes. Don't get offended, people. Has a well-built, a more veteran squad.
Yeah. What I think we need to realize as well is because we have a young squad, is that it in theory only gets better from here.
It
Whereas
does.
Inter will eventually start to decline.
We have a team full of early 20-year-olds. You have like 2 or 3 guys that are near the end of their 20s or early 30s.
And
It's
look,
a
like
young squad.
Inter's taking people like Quadrado off of our hands, right? Like that's going in the wrong direction. We're trying to go in the right direction, and we're pawning off to Inter essentially. I know it was a free transfer. We didn't pawn him off per se, but like that's where their mentality is, right? Now he's injured, and they buy Tajon Buchanan for $8 million. I mean, I said it today. Tajon Buchanan is probably Canada's third best player, but the
Canada
country
only has 3 good
has
players.
we only have 2 good players, Alphonso Davies and Jonathan David. I'm sorry, Tajon. I mean, prove me wrong. I would love to see a Canadian boy come up in Serie A and do well, even if it's for Inter. Just as a Canadian fan, like it would suck. It would tear my heart apart. But still, I mean, this is just where Inter's at. I can't see this. They're done. Inter is not a team that looks like they are going to improve from this point going forward. Other than just like grit and like that mentality, that veteran mentality that might be able to continue them charging forward, but long term, I see there being a drop off.
They've plateaued.
Mm-hmm.
They've plateaued.
Which is when you would fire a coach, perhaps like Inzaghi. That's the coach that you might talk about firing, if anybody.
Because think about it, right? Like for example, the past couple of years, have they really improved? Have they? No, they've just done the same thing. They've done the same thing.
They've maintained the status quo. Yeah,
they have
been a title contender. Well, they won it, then they contended. Now they're leading it. Yeah, they're being.
They've been there. They've been there. Conte brought them on the up, and then they've been there. And then arguably last season they kind of teetered a little bit, but still overall stayed the same course. Inzaghi has yet to win a Scudetto. The last time Inzaghi was at the top spot with Juve behind him, he fumbled it with Lazio. Inzaghi, to me, has never been that guy that he will maintain and then just keep it there. I've never seen him be the guy that essentially can grab life by the horns. You want to use the Champions League thing against me? Guys, the Champions League is luck of the draw. You get a favorable bracket, you can make a run.
When your bracket has Milan, your bracket, like when you're just playing Italian teams.
Like literally, that bracket was one of the most lopsided brackets I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, let's be honest here. If it was us in those shoes, we would still be going
probably
on about
still
how great it was. We still talk about every other time we made it to the finals. We do, right?
We do, but
Madrid. We still talk about all that.
But you look at our pathway to the finals is we beat a stacked Barcelona team. We beat a stacked Real Madrid team. We beat those guys. Right? We've gone against those top dudes and we beat them. Need I remind you of that Monaco team that put 6 on Pep Guardiola's Man City and then we shut them out to just 1 goal over 2 legs? We've gone there. We've beaten the elite to get to those finals. And then we lost to generational squads.
But the thing that makes us different is as champions, as perpetual champions, even though we're on a bit of a drought, understood, is that we don't have to talk about it because we are champions. We know. We get it.
We know.
They can talk about it because they're not perpetual champions, so they have to grab onto what they need to. Just like me as a Maple Leafs fan, I'm still talking about, like, my dad was a child the last time my team won. We talk about what happened in 1967 like it's the Cold War. It's not like that, okay? Look, we are perpetual champions, Juve.
Look, and that's why I'm not one of those corny nostalgia people that'll sit there and be like, oh, remember when we went undefeated? Or, hey, remember the 95-point season? Hey, remember? Guys, it's an expectation that we win and we dominate. It is an expectation of being a Juventini. The last thing I want to do is be an Arsenal fan that's talking about the Invincibles or being an Inter fan that says, we won a treble 10 years ago. Congratulations. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
there's no saying in that, because for us, Juve's next champion, or their Juve's best championship, or their best one, is always the next one. And I always hate being one of those nostalgia folks that sits there and does it. Sure, if there's a kid that asks me, "Hey Dash, can you talk to me about the 2011 season, or can you talk to me about the 13-14 season? Can you talk to me about the 2002-2003 season?" Sure, I'll have a conversation with you for it. But I never want to lead a conversation with that, because it just sounds corny.
You listen, you got to respect your past. You don't forget your history.
Oh, absolutely.
Like it's the classic, those that forget their history are doomed to repeat it. Blah blah blah. That corny nonsense. But Juve, again, as perpetual champions, their mentality is always looking forward. What's the next battle? What's the next hurdle that we have to overcome so we can continue to be champions? Yes, we can take a moment now and then to reflect on the past and what that past represents, which is a history of championships, of victories. And you take that and you move forward with that. So it has to be a balance, right? You have to perform right now, because the only thing that matters is what's in the moment. But that moment has to lead you into the future. But you take into the future what you've learned from the past. It's a perpetual motion. Just like Juve's a perpetual winner, that's because they were perpetually moving forward. You never give up, you never stop, you never rest.
Yeah.
Got a couple bad years, pick it up. Here we are.
Pick it up. I mean, it's all you can do. Pick yourself up and move on. That's it.
And that's exactly what we're doing. And it hasn't been the prettiest. And some Paramount pundits might say we don't need to win. We just need to be beautiful.
Look, and I will never understand that. That might just be the new hipster movement that's going on with hipster footy.
Yeah.
Because, think about it. And we're going to get into Roma, but I think that we've hit something that's, a good piece to talk about.
We're just kind of spitballing. This is just the day after. There's zero.
It is, right?
Us reflecting.
Let it fly. So, what has been Juve's identity over the decades as a club? Defensive solidarity, grit, tactical awareness. So what happens when you've been doing that for over 100 years and you decide, hey, I want to do this hipster ball? Because that's what I'm going to call this. I'm calling this hipster ball. You get what Italy is right now. Italy is in an identity crisis because we want to play proactive football. We should let Luciano Spalletti go so we can make Italy look like tiki-taka Spain in the 2010s to 2012s. Guys, what has been, and I'm not even Italian. And I can tell you, the Italian national team symbol, the way that they do it, strong defensive solidarity, amazing tactical approach, and swift counterattacks. Marcelo Lippi, did he play beautiful football? No. Strong defense, hard counterattacking. They didn't concede a goal until the final, after the own goal. And do you even want to consider an own goal a conceding?
I'll tell you what beautiful is, though. But what's beautiful? Because
Chiellini tackling the shit out of somebody.
That's beautiful. That's not a goal, is it?
No.
Now, what I noticed, though, is that yesterday people were happy with yesterday's game. They were ecstatic with how we shithoused Roma 1-0. They're never happy with the 1-0, but it's what it meant. It's where we are in the standings, coming into the new year. And that's the thing. It's like your beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But it's also situational, right? Like, let's be honest. Let's say you work the oil rigs on offshore oil platform and there's no females there. I mean, if a female shows up, she might be a 2, but she's starting to look like a 10. You're on a bit of a drought. So things change is what I'm trying to say. And yesterday, we all thought that was a beautiful win. So why is it that it's only beautiful when it's against a shithouse Roma? Why can't it be beautiful when it's against a Bologna or an Udinese or whoever? Because what's beautiful is looking at the score sheets, looking at the standings, looking at the trophy room. Who cares how you get there?
You win. Winning football changes everything. When you win, you can't really say anything, right? Because you're winning.
Because let's be honest, we complained at the 1-0 win over Napoli that it was an ugly match. We should have done better. Yet, when everyone talks about 2017 and how a great year it was, we did the exact same thing to Napoli in the exact same match.
1-0 win. Gonzalo Higuain gets the goal.
So like where's our heads? Have you guys forgotten that we've been playing shit football since 1897? Shit to look at football, let's say.
No,
It's just
but
you
the
don't
irony-
remember it because you remember the victory.
Exactly. But the other thing too that I found kind of ironic with the whole Chiellini retirement is everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, I love the defense, the Saka and this and yada yada yada." Okay, do you realize that you're shitting on the type of football that made Chiellini great?
Yeah, because he gets accused, and who was it last time said, just made a reference. It was our Chiellini retirement short. And somebody was going on, it's like, oh, I hate him so much. He reminds me everything about the best 90s defenders. So it was kind of like an offhanded compliment in a sense.
Yeah.
And like he recognized Chiellini as being so great, but at the same time, just like an archaic way of doing business. But he was just so good at being a 90s defender in 2020, you know?
Because and here's the interesting thing about it, and I'll tell you guys this, and this will shock the world. If you put Chiellini on a team that plays with a high line, he's getting cooked.
Yeah.
He's getting cooked. Chiellini was amazing because he played on teams with low blocks that went to his strengths because Chiellini was not good on the ball. Chiellini could not play make on the ball. What was Chiellini good at? Sitting deep and taking their best player out of the game.
Yeah.
That is what he did better than anyone I've seen in recent history.
And let's not forget either, there was always a supporting cast. Chiellini, likely the conductor of that cast.
Yep.
But he had the people, the team around him as well. Just like Bonucci, right? As soon as everyone left, Bonucci, his weaknesses were exposed, but he was the ball-playing defender. You need a ball-playing defender beside Chiellini. They worked off each other very well.
So, look, and maybe one day I'll understand the whole new ideas, new style, but for the time being, it might just be the old man in me that says, go with what works.
Right now, we're winning. And why do we want to change that?
Why do you want to change it?
For any reason. Give me a reason why we want to change that right now.
Because that to me reminds me, Dave, and you'll probably get a kick out of this. So, like, you look at the millennial right now that's on the ascension, that has maybe a good career, like a good year or two at their job, and they're like, oh, let me go do this. Let me go try this new idea or do this. And then they go somewhere. And then again, you don't have that consistency. You don't have that resume. You don't have street cred. You just have I would say, flash in a pan. Look,
Yep.
Dusan is an example of that until he shows otherwise, right? We've got people can say that for Chiesa as well.
I've just dealt with that at work, so I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so it's like you have that, and then it's like, okay, great. You don't have a solid foundation. You don't have proper street cred, and now you do that, and you completely tank something. Because the thing for a lot of these young coaches is if they get a big job and they flounder, it is very difficult for them to climb back up.
Well, even Mourinho, he's floundered.
Look, he's floundered, but he's had street cred though.
He does, but like even him now, he's struggling with Roma to like have any sort of credibility. Nobody takes him really that serious.
Mourinho ascended up into godhood in a sense.
But that's what I'm saying. Like he made that ascension, and he's still knocked down.
Step by step, he went up to Porto, took him to a Champions League, went to Chelsea, did well with Chelsea, essentially got Inter over the hump over there, and then went to the pinnacle and clashed with Guardiola with Real Madrid. He climbed up the ascension. And then you can argue because Premier League back then in 2008, 2009 wasn't what it is now. It wasn't the greatest league in the world. Serie A technically was at that point. So it's like he ascended up. So, like, for example, you take a coach and you put him up too soon, what happens? You get Andrea Pirlo.
You can say that
Maurizio Sarri. He's another example of what happens when you ascend too quickly.
Wow,
because he went from Empoli to Napoli, and then he went to Chelsea. He got a Europa League title. Not really much there. Went to us. Essentially walked into a Scudetto with Ronaldo and company, and then he's at Lazio, and you look at him now. What happened?
I think, with Sarri, you got to remember he was a banker. Pirlo's like more the I want to, use him
He,
more as the example because he
but
was the footballer.
the idea I want to illustrate is people were saying that Sadi was the new Sachi, the new
Oh yeah,
Sachi,
Sari's balls and all that stuff. Yeah.
Sadi's Bulls. And that was a big up to Antonio. Antonio over there at IFTV called this before it even happened. He said, this guy's a flash in the pan. He's going to have a couple of good seasons, and after that, everyone's going to forget about him. Like, that's what he said. He said that in
Well,
2019.
because he's been around. He's been around, and he sees the things come and go. Right. That's one of those.
Yes.
If anything, one thing of getting older that just like old man wisdom is just because you've seen things happen. You've seen history repeat itself, essentially. So you're like, yep, seen this before. Oh, yep. It's about time.
So that's kind of like, because we got to get into Roma, but like we'll table it here with this. We'll say, youngsters, young Juventini, please consult your elder Juventino for some feedback on some stuff before you just, look at certain things and say, oh, this, and let's do this and do this. Because remember, we've all been there. We've all thought that our ideas are the latest and most greatest new things. But when you do some critical thinking and some deductive reasoning, do it in our Discord, because there's plenty of people that'll give you feedback there. A little bit of a shameless plug, but you'll get some feedback. And I think that's kind of what we'll leave it. And I think we'll transition in to the snooze fest. That was
man,
Roma.
do we have to? No, it's great, guys. Just since this is a natural break, I have had the barcode up there for the Discord in the top left corner. We've mentioned it. How do you get there? Scan that with your phone or hit the link that's right down there in the description. While you're there, hit the like and the subscribe button if you haven't already, and we will transition into Roma. Dash, take it away.
Brought to you by Specsave. No, I'm just kidding. So, all right, cool. Roma 1-0. We won that game. Look, people can disagree with me, but I thought it was a snooze fest. I think that we had Roma's scheme essentially understood the entire game. Roma really predominantly what they were looking for was they were looking for a ball out to the wing up until Dybala, and Dybala cross in and hope Lukaku sticks at the end of it. Roma did not make really any attempt at trying to capitalize in the middle. I think Dave and I were trying to count the amount of passes Paredes made forward through the middle. Spoiler alert, there wasn't any. And really, Roma didn't create much at all, if any. I think there was just the one opportunity that Dybala tried doing a half-assed Trivela that went wide. I think that was the only chance that I saw with my eyes that I thought was really like, oh shit.
There's the post as well.
I think that was wide off though. I didn't, to be honest with you, I didn't think it was dangerous.
No, there was that dinger early on, right? There was a couple like moments that made you stop and think. It was like, oh, that was a close one.
Because and people get pissed at me because if you look at the stats, Roma had 0 big chances, 0 zipple.
And I don't think they ever consider a post a big chance, anywaes.
No,
like
they didn't even consider Dybala's outside footer a big chance, but
it was never going on. It wasn't even close though, really.
No. So Roma had 11 shots, only 2 on target, and there were kind of whimpers on target that went into Tech's hands quite easily.
Very, very easily, yeah.
And expected goals of 0.46. So in theory, it was a snooze fest. It was. You might have had some players that you enjoyed watching that could contradict that, but if you're looking at Roma really bringing the pain, it didn't really happen.
No, the first 25 minutes or so, Juve came in. They tried to take the game to Roma. They wanted to just snatch that goal early on, which they tend to do. This is something we see Allegri teams do. It's a tactic, and it didn't happen. And rolling into the 30th minute, they kind of locked in and controlled the rest of the half. Then clearly, a couple minutes into the second half, Rabiot 1-0. Then, of course, second half now, you're up 1-0. What do you expect to happen?
You're shithousing them. And by shithouse, let's give them a definition of what we mean by shithouse, because shithouse, what Dave and I consider to be shithouse ball, is you take very petty fouls, you exaggerate recovery time, you play the ball out just to waste time. Essentially, time-wasting pro. Who does that quite well? Mr. Mancini and Jose Mourinho. Those two are quite experts.
So lucky. I was predicting Mourinho and a Mancini yellow card. Mancini deservedly should have had one. Mourinho actually kept his mouth shut yesterday.
He preferred not to speak, as he would
quiet.
say. Juve, on the other hand, though, is 1.12 expected goals, 12 shots, or 13 shots, 4 on target, 3 big chances, 2 missed. We got to finish, guys. We got to
Still an issue.
finish.
Yep.
It's still an issue, though.
Though
Dusan was not one of the big chances missed, which is an improvement.
it is actually.
He did get an assist, which,
So
like I've always said, my judgment and criticism of players, I try to be as fair as possible. I praise them when there's moments to be praised. I criticize when there's moments to be criticized. And for the 2 games in a row, Dusan has been playing like a solid player, like a solid number 9.
a lot of people, and I agree on in many aspects, that it is potentially his best game this season. He didn't get the
Yes.
goal, but his off the ball movement, the fact that
Contributions.
he was holding up, getting his body in, drawing fouls, not complaining. I think that's the biggest one right there. Is he put the purse away, and he acted like a center forward for the first time in since he's joined the team. Is that fair to say?
Yes. Yes. He did what we've been seeing Xerxes do for like the last 18 games. He did that one game essentially. He facilitated, because sometimes when the goals are not there, the next best thing you can do is facilitate play for your offense. And he did that. And I wanted to give him props because he purposely sought out Llorente, which I kind of want to have in my head, where like there's a couple of things that I have questions about that. But I don't know if Llorente was man marking Dusan at first, but Dusan manhandled Llorente the entire game. And essentially every time, any pocket of space where Llorente was going, because him and Mancini would switch every now and then, Dusan would make sure that he would post up on Llorente because he was winning the physical battle against Llorente. The assist, the backheel assist he got, was with Llorente on his back.
Mm-hmm.
So Dusan saw that he had a mismatch in Llorente, and he exposed it. My only question that I have, that I'm a little bit, because I know Misak said that Llorente was following him the entire game, and the question is it because Dusan was following Llorente, or did Mourinho want Mancini to stay on Yildiz the entirety of the match? Because that's one of the questions that I have, because Mancini was very, very aggressive on Yildiz. Part of me is thinking, and this is the coach head of mine,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm thinking, take out their creative player, Dusan will isolate himself. I think that's what Mourinho initially schemed. I could be wrong, but when I'm looking at it from a coaching perspective, I just
It
saw a
makes
kid
sense.
torch. I just saw an 18-year-old torch 3 professional Frosinone defenders to get an impossible shot.
And let's remember, Yildiz did technically do that.
He did it again.
wide, but he did do
He
it pretty
did it
early on
again.
again. Yeah.
He dribbled through 3 Roma defenders as they were standing still and just put it off the post. So part of me, I could be wrong, part of me is thinking that Mourinho said, hey, Dusan can essentially take himself out of the game if he doesn't get supply and if he gets frustrated. So Llorente, what I want you to do, grab him, tussle with him, get him pissed off so he takes himself out of the game. Whereas Mancini, I want you to welcome Yildiz to Serie A. And what I mean, be physical, tackle him hard, grab him, hook him, hit him, all of it. Because I want you to take Yildiz out of the game. Tactically, not physically take him out. And I think that's what the scheme was. And Dusan was marked by Llorente, was like, okay, this guy ain't shit, so let me expose this. And he did. He exposed the living hell out of Llorente. He had an incredible turn that unfortunately got blocked by Mancini coming in last second. I think the one thing
there's
that Marine, I think it was Mancini.
Nkuno. And
Is it what?
Nkuku,
I thought it was
what's his
Mancini.
name? No,
No, that's the goal line. That's the goal line clearance for Kostic.
Okay, the other
Indica.
one. Yes, sorry.
Indica
Yeah.
did the
Indica,
clearance.
sorry, that's the name. I could.
Yeah,
He was in something.
Mancini slid in and stopped the Dusan shot. So I don't know, and I think that might be a misplay of Mourinho to not have Mancini go to Dusan, which I think would have helped them in the long run, because Dusan absolutely took Llorente to school, which is good for him, because again, he needs to build that confidence, because Dusan's biggest weakness is when you man mark him, you frustrate him, you get in his face, you be physical with him, you take him out of the game. So I thought Dusan probably played his best match. Dave, I think you agree so as well.
It's pretty fair to say. I can't. I would have liked to see him be a little more clinical. That's I have to still put that on the table. He has to clean that up a little bit
Absolutely.
more. But other
Absolutely.
than that, yes, he did everything else right yesterday.
Because when you're not clinical in front of net, the next best thing you can do is facilitate. And he did.
He did. Yeah.
He did. He facilitated the offensive play, created opportunities, forced corners, forced goal, forced defenders to respect him, to actually mark him and look at it, and it opened up space for everybody else.
And
So
we mentioned that, right? When you have multiple threats, now you have to defend multiple threats, which means there's more space for everyone. And I mean, we got enough space. That space opened up to Rabiot. He walked it in. That's what you need. You need people coming forward, creating options, and once in a while, a ball's gonna land at your feet.
yep,
Boom, Rabiot.
shithouse ball at its finest. Speaking of Rabiot, I thought Rabiot was starting to come on his own. Was shaky, but now he's starting to really get the motor going, getting into things.
Well, he's a second half the season kind of player.
Yeah,
Right?
he's always been that guy. Locatelli as well. I don't really have anything really to say about Loca. I
He
mean,
did his
just good
job like
defensive
he does every
cover.
week.
Yeah, he's starting to get to that 7, right? Where it's just like
Mhm.
this is my
Consistent.
expectations. This is it. I'm not expecting anything great. McKennie, Big Wes.
Most improved.
Oh my goodness,
Clearly.
most improved. Brother, you got to put that one onto the left or the right and make
No,
it 2-0.
but yes, the miss.
You got to finish that, big dog. I love you,
could-
but you got to finish that, big dog.
I can kind of understand he's playing out on the wings, right? How many chances has he had this season?
Tired legs. I understand. Tired
and
legs,
that,
right?
but just he doesn't have
I'm
his
pretty-
shooting boots on this season, right?
I
He hasn't
know,
been put
I
into that
know.
role,
He's
and
got-
he finally
he's
gets
got-
a chance.
just hits it right at the keeper. Like, McKennie. That would have finished and cemented McKennie as the man of the match that match if he actually finished that job.
Easy.
Because right now, 70% of the world is covered by water and the other 30% is covered by McKennie at this point, because I think McKennie covered everything on the pitch.
Box
Box to box, despite not having his partner in crime,
heat map?
Cambiaso. You could probably Google it.
Thought Mob doesn't do that, do they?
No, they don't do heat maps. But
Okay, I'll try to find.
look, I mean, you had Weah who came back from injury. Well, Weah was good, not bad. He was still able to integrate with Weah, and they were still able to do what they did. They really made that right side of Roma struggle, or that left side of Roma struggle. I mean, they did an excellent job. On the left, though, I do have some concerns right now. Some concerns and some things to jump for joy for. Something's going on with Kostic and Danilo. I really
terms of like
think-
the communication situation.
I don't know if it's communication, or if it's positioning, or something. There's an issue there. There is an issue there. I think those players are both individually solid, but I think for some reason there's just been an issue coming off of that side. I know Danilo's not in his best condition, not in his best form. Look, I'm not for absolutely burn Danilo at the stake or not, but I do think Juve need to start looking at the assimilation of another center back to fully take over once Danilo is essentially out of it. But you want to start assimilating a center back now instead of throwing him to the wolves, because we got lucky with Gatti. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you guys. Usually center backs don't adapt that fast at that age, so we're extremely lucky. But the good news is, with Kostic and Danilo kind of having issues there, you get to see Illing now. Illing's featured quite a lot recently. We're wondering where he went.
Yes, yeah. He showed up. I don't know if we're just trying to get some value for a possible
maybe
sale.
Well, if he's able to perform, there's not really value that you're looking for. You're planning on integrating him. I think the only question that remains now, once Weah starts building form, Cambiaso returns, where do you have Kostic, Cambiaso, McKennie, and Weah?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit difficult now, right? It's a little bit difficult for Illing, and I think he is going to be surplus goods. But look, if I'm Illing, force them to bench Kostic.
Absolutely.
Force them to bench him.
Yeah, That would be great. Now,
because
the
that's what
interesting thing, at least, is our next show was on Wednesday, which is day 2 of the open market. So by Wednesday, maybe there's a bit better of a picture that we can talk about transfers. But as of now, I mean, is it even worth it? There's no solid anything at this point. So to even speculate, I think you've taken the right approach in that. Let's play him. Let's play him and force Kostic out of that position. Why not?
Yeah,
I like
look,
that.
if you're an Illing fan, for sure. If you're an Illing fan, this is like, again, if I'm Illing, if I want to be a part of this project at Juve, you have a door now. You have an opening. Kostic, there's an issue with him. He's just not gelling quite well right now. Take advantage of it. Because what did Yildiz do? Took advantage of Chiesa and Dusan misfiring.
And maybe this is the time now. I mean, you got a 30-year-old has played most of the minutes there in that position. And yeah, maybe he's a little tired, even though it's one game a week. Maybe just having those fresh legs and rotating out and letting the kid have a chance. This could be exactly what we need going into the new year.
Look, take opportunity as it is. And then looking at it from the back line, I thought Danilo had some rough clearances. As much as I respect him, I also
and there
gotta
was
call him
one
out.
really rough one.
Yeah, really rough.
Really
I
rough
think
one.
I don't know. I think he's a little bit slow kind of going. I don't know if he's fully recovered or something, but it just something doesn't sit there. And right now I think teams are trying to expose that left side. Bremer, his job was to man mark Lukaku the entire match and
Job
did
done.
an outstanding job.
Yep.
Lukaku was essentially, when Bremer did his contract renewal, he pulled out his Jeep Grand Cherokee keys, his cell phone, his wallet, and Romelu Lukaku. Absolutely neutralized him. I know some folks were saying Gatti man marked him, but that is quite incorrect. To the tape shows it was Bremer that was man marking him. So offering that for some folks there. But yeah, it was Bremer did an outstanding job man marking him. I thought Gatti did, again, great job integrating with McKennie and Weah. Really, it was just an all-around, it's a solid performance, right? It's a good performance. This is one of those games where it is, like I said, a snooze fest. Yeah, know it's going to get done, and it gets done. There's not really like, because I don't think there was any moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, like, Roma are going to concede. They're getting right, or we're going to concede to Roma. They're getting right through us.
That's a good
No.
point. There was no. I mean, there's a couple of those moments, like I mentioned. There was the post, and then there was the, Dybala kind of taking a
First
whack
30
at it.
minutes. First 30 minutes, I would say.
But no, there was never any real threat of conceding. I don't think that whole 90 minutes.
Like, yeah, if you're an old fart like me, you would consider it a snooze fest. If you're someone that's excited to see some of these players break through or continue their form, then I can understand that. But yeah, I mean, look,
I think if you were a Roma or a neutral fan, that game sucked.
Oh,
I think the only people that thought that was a good game was Juve fans and like crazy tactical footballers. Nobody else liked that match. Let's be fair.
Let's be honest here. Because there wasn't, like, I mean, outside of the back heel from Dusan, there was, in Yildiz with the dribble, I think that was it. I really think that was it.
Yeah.
There's not anything that stands out to me. Like, I don't know. I could be wrong here, but
moments.
Maybe I'm just hard to impress. Maybe that's what it is.
You are.
I'm very picky.
You certainly are.
I
don't know. You guys let us know what you guys think. If you thought overall it was a boring game with perhaps moments of brilliance, maybe you thought it was the greatest thing ever. I don't know. Let us know. Maybe we're just cranky old men. Another year older, we'll be.
Well, look, I mean, this game that wasn't really anything crazy when Dave and I don't really have much to talk about it, right?
We ranted more about, well, I mean, you put the chef's hat on and just started cooking right off the bat. You didn't give us a chance.
We were recapping the performances in the season so far because, like, honestly, I don't think we could have found a way to, like, stuff an hour of talking about Roma Juve because there really wasn't anything to talk about. Like, am I missing something?
No, we talked for 20 minutes about it. So, I mean, there was clearly stuff to talk about. It's just what we already talked about a lot of it because we predicted it's Allegri Mourinho. At the end of the day, we kind of knew which flavor profile we were getting. We didn't necessarily know that. Okay, we knew we were eating out Portuguese yesterday. We just didn't know which restaurant we were going to just quite yet. But we figured it out, and we had our meal, and we tipped the waitress. Bills paid,
Yep.
Points are on the table. At the end of the day, yeah, we teased apart the little differences. I don't know, what did we miss? Somebody will let us know if we missed something obvious. But I think the most important thing is that coming into 2024, and I feel this amongst the community, that nothing else really quite matters in the footballing world at this moment. All that matters is that on December 30th, the very last Serie A match of 2023, Juve came out and shithoused the shithousers 1-0, Curto Musso to a T, and we absolutely loved it because we couldn't have asked for anything more from Mr. Max Allegri. There you go. That's the game recap. We knew what we wanted. We went to the restaurant, we ordered it, and we ate the damn thing, and it was delicious. There's your chef's hat.
Fair enough.
So, I guess back to the housekeeping as I see somebody walk by in the reflection of your frames there.
Reflection. I know, right? Alrighty. Well, I guess that's it, guys. This is the last recording or video that Dave and I are doing for 2023. So
Is
we
it?
ended it
It's
there.
over.
It is.
It's over,
It is.
but
We
there's
got
still
a
half
few
a
hours.
season.
There is still half a season. So
Still half a season.
again, everyone, thanks for a great year. It was fun making all this content. We did decide to do a little bit of a rant today, but it was a productive rant. We weren't calling people names, so nobody take us out of context there.
We didn't even
were
talk about the
challenging
Roma
ideas.
fans at all.
Yeah, with the chair.
Name calling.
Yeah, we want to throw chairs at people, but
Yeah.
we do appreciate that. We will come back Wednesday for the Tinfoil Hat Show. So again, if you're on Discord, please do send us the material that you guys want us to react to, and we will do that for you. And then we will break down another pregame, another match day live with a call-in show, and then we'll have another day after, and then go Bob's your uncle.
Rinse, repeat, rinse it twice. Really.
Yeah, we might do a transfer deadline show because technically it's like 6 p.m. when the transfer window closes. So we might do something like that.
Yeah, if there's something exciting, if everything's done and dusted, we'll play that one by ear. But no, guys, I think you know if you're new, it's pretty easy. Every Wednesday, tinfoil.
Because you want to know something funny? The reason why I mentioned that, Dave, is because the 31st is on a Wednesday.
Perfect.
The end of the
that's what
transfer
we're doing.
window.
Okay, yeah, then we will. We will. Perfect.
He's like sitting there. He's like, I like this. This is good. Great.
Things happen. Things happen. They fall in place. It's great.
I love it when a plan gets together.
So that's what we will do. But yeah, every Wednesday we're going live for the Tinfoil Hat Show, and then in terms of games, we're gonna do pre-match the day before, and then we'll do match day the day of, which is the live watch along with the post-game call-in show, and then what you're listening to now, the day after is the pre-recorded. We've slept on it. We're calm. We don't have you guys distracting us in the live chat. It's just dash some mellow vibes. Maybe not so mellow. It's not always so mellow, is it?
I think we're
It
mellow.
starts. Now we're mellow. You got it out. You got it out today.
Yeah,
We're ready to have a couple of eggnogs and ring in the new year. I think that's where we're at, guys. Like and subscribe. Join the Discord. Dash, you got anything else?
Nope. We'll see you next. I don't want to say that. That sounds corny. We'll just see you next week.
Happy New Year's, everyone. Thanks for watching.
See ya.